and gentlemen, a very warm welcome. This is the grandest stage one can have to talk about all things telecom. All of you have had a very long day, but I'm sure a very insightful one. And today and the next 2 days has really showcased India, how much it's leapfrog from being a technology adopter to being a technology leader. And we're so proud to be an Indian. To just wrap up what has been a fantastic day so far, I would like to welcome on stage the Department of Telecommunications Secretary, Dr. Neeraj Mittal. A big round of applause for him. He's an IAS officer, but you know what's even more impressive? His educational qualification from IIT Kanpur. He's also a PhD. He was an IAS. He started his career 35 years ago with CDOT. So he's come a full circle and he comes with himself a big wealth of experience. He joined as a DOT secretary about a month back, and we're really looking forward to all the developments under him. Thank you very much, sir, for joining. That's your mic. How was the day, Dr. Mittal?
It's been excellent because I don't think we've had so many delegates here in any of the past. I was just checking, the last time we had about 30,000 delegates. Today we had 46,000 registrations. So it's been awesome.
Incredible, absolutely incredible. My heart swells with pride, seeing all this today. You've just taken over as a DOT secretary about a month back. And India has seen an unprecedented 5G rollout. I remember IMC 2022. It was all about ushering 5G, making India count in the league tables of 5G. IMC 2023 is all about taking that 5G mandate forward, monetizing it. We're also now talking about bringing in innovative technology, laying the foundation for innovative technology, laying the foundation for 6G. But you know, sir, as things stand today, this unprecedented 5G rollout has been led by only two companies. The government has made it very vocal that they want a thriving, competitive market. But the truth of the situation right now is that we've got two players who have run away with 5G layout. One player is yet to start its 5G rollout. And then you've got a PSU company which is now starting its 4G rollout. How do you feel about this state?
We are very proud that the two companies who have led the 5G rollout, they have done it in the fastest time ever possible. We have lakhs of towers and BTSs which have been established. To give 5G coverage to such a large population is not a joke. I don't think it has been attempted anywhere before except perhaps China. And therefore, they deserve all the applause. They are Indian companies. At the same time, I think the government also took a very conscious decision and a very bold decisions 2 years ago, saying that India shall not depend on foreign clutches for its critical core infrastructure technology. And that's when the onus was given to the consortium of CDOT, Tejas, and TCS to develop the 4G technology for the India, and they are very well on track. The Honorable Minister has already committed in public that very shortly this will be rolled out. We are very confident that we will not only have a 4G indigenously developed technology, both core and RAN, but we will also have 5G along with it, which will soon fructify. So I think we are in good shape.
Okay. You took charge a month back. What would be your top 3 priorities if we meet again, same time next year, IMC 2024? What would have the past 1 year looked like according to you?
The Honorable Prime Minister has, laid these priorities very clearly. Even today, when he spoke, he said that we have to have a self-reliant India in technology. Not only self-reliant, we also want the Indian technology to be part of the rest of the world. And he gave examples about how we were an importer of mobile phones and we have become an exporter of mobile phones, how we were importing equipment, telecom equipment, and we are also now exporting it. uh, if you take optical fiber, I was told some 35 million uh, rolls goes out of India as exports. So we are kind of becoming an exporter. So we want to, 1 year down the line, we would like to see India exporting in high value added, high IPR products. That would be the benchmark. We would also like to see a lot of manufacturing happening within India of critical telecom equipment. So high-end routers, optical equipment, the software which is required to develop. We already have an inherent strength of software in other services, but telecom software we haven't had too much expertise, and we are very well. If you go around in IMC, you will see at least 3 or 4 companies demonstrating their 4G core, which means they have all developed it independently. So I think these two are really critical at a macro level. But I would also like, as a third priority, that our startups become an integral part of this growth story.
So the first one is India garners a higher market share of exporting mobile phones, smartphones. The second one
And
is
telecom equipment.
and telecom equipment. I thought that was the second one. You know,
No, no. So what I said was, export all these, manufacture these
manufacture critical
domestically,
telecom
and the
infrastructure.
third is to have startups becoming a critical part of this growth story.
Okay. When we talk about 5G, companies have spent and committed billions of dollars to 5G. Yet all of us are using 5G for free. Companies have not yet got the return commensurate with the investment that they've made on 5G. We don't have that killer 5G app yet. So before we think ahead and look ahead to 6G, don't we need to monetize 5G? And what is the thought process in the industry about monetizing 5G?
So on 5G, yes. I mean, if you talk to possibly in Europe somebody, whether they might say 5G has failed, but we are not going to let that happen in India. If you see the foresight of our Prime Minister, he announced 1 year ago that we will have 100, you know, 5G use cases labs. I don't think anywhere in the world we have established such labs. We have established 5G, test beds in multiple places. We are working on 5G standards. There are a host of startups who are working on 5G led applications. If you look at the defining or distinguishing criteria between 4G and 5G, you would realize that low latency, high reliability, massive machine to machine communication, these are the defining characteristics of 5G, which cannot happen, sorry, 4G and 5G, which cannot happen in 3G networks, and sorry, 5G. And therefore the use cases of them are being developed as we speak by so many players who are there today. The other use case of 5G really happens in an industrial setting, and we had a CEO roundtable conference today where they said that manufacturing, if India has to become a manufacturing destination, not just telecom equipment, but general manufacturing of all kinds, and it has to compete in the world, it has to become smart manufacturing. And that can only happen with 5G deployment. And of course, there's going to be a cost to it, but I think India cannot do without doing it. So I think while there is no one killer application, there are hundreds of killer applications out there. It's a matter of time that they develop, and we will make sure that they develop.
What else was discussed at that CEO roundtable?
Well, we discussed a lot of issues. One of the things was about how to make India a manufacturing destination for the telecom equipment. And a few things came up about what changes can be made to the policy framework, How can ease of doing business be done a little better? How can, the production link incentive scheme could be tinkered a little bit? So very valid and good suggestions were received. The other thing we discussed was about cyber security. Uh, Even during the G20, we had massive attacks on Indian IT infrastructure from abroad and from within by foreign players. And we defended all of them very vigorously. Nobody succeeded. That goes a lot to say about our capability, but there is a lot to be done. So we spoke about if there can be a unified, secure, uh, an architecture for cybersecurity which is secure by design, zero trust. So those are the kind of things we discussed in that roundtable.
Since a big thrust of the conversation was around manufacturing, and that's clearly your priority, make in India, make in India for the world. Would we be looking to up some sort of provide some regulatory support, financial support to enable that? We already have a PLI for manufacturing telecom equipment, but is there going to be some added policy support?
So we already have a PLI scheme. It is at about 12,195 crores for a period of 5 years. I think we have spent some 3,000 crores or something like that so far. But we intend to. So one of the suggestions there was that you are giving it for X type of products. Can you increase it for different kind of
Expand
product?
the
Expand
product.
the scope of the scheme. And these are the kind of suggestions we are looking forward from forums like these, where we can make these schemes more meaningful. For another suggestion was that when you give a PLI, many new players are coming to use this scheme, and their scale is small. If their scale is small, if you give them a 4% or a 6% incentive or their gross revenue, that's not enough to compensate for the cost disadvantage which they may have with a big player. So I think we have money is enough. All we need to do is to tinker the scheme so that it becomes more relevant. And we look forward to forums like these to make it more relevant.
So the ask from the industry is to expand the scope of the telecom equipment PLI scheme. I want to, Honorable Minister Ashwini Vaishnav also laid out the vision document for 6G. He also said that India needs to take leadership in 6G. If India indeed needs to take leadership in 6G, what would be the things that India needs to do?
So we already have, about a year ago, I think it was announced to have the Bharat 6G Alliance. It is a consortium of industries and academia and all in other parties. That alliance has this responsibility of bringing all the stakeholders together and bring a consensus. We are also going to have an honorable Prime Minister, I think, also mentioned that we are going to have the WTSA conference, next year in India. That's the first time we are going to host it, and it's a standards association for from the ITU. India is going to present the needs of India and make sure that they become part of the standards. So one of the things we were successful in doing it was to include the feature of ubiquity in the 6G framework. And many countries, especially the United States, actually supported India's case. Why it is important is, or why is it that many countries would not support is because if you say ubiquity, which means everybody has to be provided with 6G, which means more money has to be spent, larger capex. But India said that, for a country, for us, inclusiveness is very important. And therefore, we push for that and we were able to. So it's just one example how India has shown leadership in, bringing 6G to be relevant for Indian needs.
I want to know when I'll get 6G.
Sorry?
When will I get 6G? When will all of us get 6G on our phone?
Yeah. Well, I think you have to start paying for 5G first. You said you're getting it free.
Did the telecom, CEOs talk about, monetizing 5G, not from the enterprises, but from consumers? Then maybe charging a premium tariff for 5G. Did that come up?
No, it did not come up because tariff is something which companies decide on their, on their competitive pricing basis. But I think companies are working feverishly to develop 5G cases. For example, they would like to, do network splicing and, do the traffic, which will be have a separate quality of service so that they can assign priorities to different networks. So companies, private companies can establish their own, private networks with different class of, services, which is not possible under the current 4G networks or 3G networks. So many approaches are going on. I think we will find companies finding different ways to monetize it.
Fair enough. One final thing that I wanted to talk about is the startup ecosystem. That's your key priority. Get India's thriving startup ecosystem into the larger ecosystem. I think the DOT has three funds, three programs where you fund startups. What has come out of it so far? You've sown the seeds for the last few years. Can you talk about some of the trees become?
So there are at least 250 or 200 odd startups who are participating here actually. Many of them have been funded by DOT. We have successes in chip manufacturing. There's a company called Signaltron. We have a company which has become relatively bigger. It's VVDN. It was also financed under the PLI. We have a company called Logi, and I think it works in health. We have companies who are working in education, in agriculture, all using 5G test cases, use cases in various spheres. So the three schemes which we have a large, allocation. The first one is TTDF, which has the largest allocation of 500 crores. There are two more schemes, DCIS, and there's another one run by CDOT. So I think government is making sure that there is no lack of money for the startups to be able to participate. I think one of the problems we are working on behalf of startups is to how do they get market access in public procurement, because telecom is an infrastructure which is highly large amount of investment is done by public sector. Of course, there are private players as well, and we are going to actually place this problem in front of the private sector as well. They should also take the onus of giving startups some leg space, some orders to be given so that they can develop this, their order book and grow up the value chain.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mittal. And now I'm going to open up the floor. So we've got the DOT Seki with us, guys. So if you have any questions, please keep them flowing. Please introduce yourself. Tell us one line about your background, and then you've got the mic.
Hi, my name is Advocate Priti Khastigir. I'm an Indian patent agent, and I work in the ITU group of Working Group Geneva, and I'm also AI blockchain trainer at WIPO Geneva. So my question is simple, it's not for startups. So in the meeting, we discussed about the PPP partnership today. However, if you look into the data sets, actors in the online world are of three types: neutral actors, good actors, and bad actors. So when we are doing this PPP partnership, how do you think we will be able to identify the bad actors? Because bad actors are the actors who are responsible for something called as corruption. So how do you think that can be mitigated by utilizing AI?
Yeah, I know. Uh, I don't know. Are you talking about cybersecurity, bad actors, good
I'm
actors?
talking about the PPP partnership, which we were talking in the meeting today, also in the morning. When we say PPP partnership, so it's all the stakeholders come into cognizance, right? And when all the stakeholders are there, in the PPP partnership itself, there are people who claim to be the good actors, but they are the people who are the bad actors.
We have to put in processes in place. You heard the Prime Minister.
So
What is
how AI can be utilized? My question is how AI and blockchain can be utilized to mitigate the risk? Because India is at the center, at the
you're
core
talking
of
about
it.
procurement, I'm assuming, or contracts?
I would say decision making, because PPP partnership works when it is in the right direction, and how AI and blockchain can play a pivotal
I
role.
mean, see, blockchain, you can, use it for contracts, for, ensuring that they remain immutable, they are not, tampered with. You can use AI to, I don't know, say, for example, if you were to make all the procurement contracts public, you could use AI to compare and, come out with any anomalous prices paid for the same products in different contracts.
Just one. So, do you think AI and smart contracts would be deployed by Government of India for the PPP partnership in near future?
No, I think that's a very specific question. I don't think I can answer that question because AI and blockchain are generic technologies. Their applications need not be limited to PPP. They go way beyond. RBI may be deploying it for cryptocurrency. There are so many other applications which are available. So I'm sure if it is, a solution is available, it will be deployed. I don't think there is any. Yeah, thank you.
Warm regards to all the ladies and gentlemen or your guests present here. My name is Ujjwal Sonkar, and we are working on a startup which is based in defense technologies. So we have a novel architecture which is not anything similar to x86 or ARM-based processors. And we have received a lot of interest from Ministry of Defense as well as telecommunication industry, because in most of the cases when we use the chip architecture, it is either something a foreign company who doesn't give us the total access to use it. So there is nothing which is especially kept in mind about this hardware independency in the architecture domain. So we have, as a startup, we do have it, but we need some funding, a significant amount good enough to make it something scalable, such as either having a foundry within India. Right now it's being manufactured at TSMC, and we want to be hardware independent if we wish to. What do you suggest we as a startup should work? As you said about TTDF as well as others. So do you have anything in special consideration if we have such an important project? And please kindly, I would like to hear your opinions, like how can we
I
proceed?
cannot respond specifically to your needs, but as I said, the TTDF is available. If it's a telecom related application, we would definitely be happy to fund it. Please apply. The window just closed, or I think it has been extended. It has been extended. It is open. Please go back tonight, apply. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, hello everyone. Very good evening. Good evening, sir. So I am from TCS, Tata Consultancy Services, and I'm working there as a AIML lead, data scientist lead. So my question to you, sir, is we know that upcoming technologies are there, 5G is there, 6G is there, but and in 5G there are enterprise 5G as well, the private networks, and I firmly believe that AIML is having a crucial role in terms of 5G, especially specifically when we talk about private networks. But in the AIML itself, there are generative AI as well, the new hot topic nowadays, which so how do you see generative AI as a collaboration with 5G in private networks? Will it be a boon or will it be a curse? Because why I'm saying so, there are certain areas in it, like we can explore it more and more, but as you know that it's an immense thing. You might be aware of.
It's a 8G UPSC question, which I will not be able to answer. I think
Sorry.
you know the answer.
But yeah, from your perspective, I just want to know
No, I
that.
mean, not specifically about generative AI, but I do see that AI is going to be very widely pervasively used, and as technologies evolve, as technologies become more and more. So, for example, one of the you know revelations to me was today that the way Geo has been able to reduce the cost of their phones is that they have been able to take away all the processing to the core, and the phone is just kind of a shell. The entire processing is happening at the back end, and so I think the more and more processing can happen in 5G and 6G technologies in the core, and you can throw all the results on the edge, right? So, I mean, I agree with you that that's going to be the future. So I think that's about, as deep as I can go on generative AI. Thank you.
Thank you. Vikas, you're the one standing between him and the dinner now, remember.
Sure, I will keep it short. Good evening, everyone. Good to hear you, Neeraj sir. My question is related to you on the open WAN. So, this open WAN concept has a lot of promising things, but it also have challenges, many challenges. Like different countries are providing incentives and policies to promote the open WAN. So, what is our India policies, or what is the thought process at this point of time from the government related to the open WAN?
So we fully support Open RAN initiative. We, after the ISET was, announced last year between the US and India with,
Yeah.
President Biden and our
Yes.
Honorable Prime Minister. Open RAN has been a high priority item for us. Some test beds have been, established. The CDOT and various other companies are working on the principle of ORAN. The principle is simple. Um, you make it open, you get more people to work on it. The
Yes.
interfaces are standardized. It's
Yes.
not a black box.
Correct.
Many people and the existing incumbents would like to keep it that way because that keeps the monopoly going. But I think over a period of time, everybody will turn to an open RAN architecture. There might still be countries who may want to retain because they would like not to be a part of this open RAN architecture.
Correct.
But I think we are committed to it, and there's no going back on open RAN.
Thank you, Neeraj sir.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
your answer. Thank you.
And now to make it a final five, I'll ask a question. You said that one revelation for you was that how Jio was able to cut down costs by doing all the processing at outside. What else was a revelation for you? You're a student for life. What else have you learned today that you didn't know?
I think the one of the things which and it never stops me from really becoming fascinated is that there are so many pathways to solve a problem. I mean, I
Example?
see. So, for example, I saw a solution to save fishermen uh, in the sea. I saw one solution at BSNL. I saw another solution at, I think, Tejas.
And what were these solutions? You want to tell us briefly?
Yeah, I mean, they are based on, the BSNL was a combined solution of, so as long as, so 2 nautical miles, you have this 3G, 4G coverage. So it uses that till that area. After that, it switches to satellite. The Tejas solution was all the way satellite. We have funded, I think, if I'm not wrong, we have funded a startup called Ignoble in Chennai, whom we, helped them do a POC with government of Tamil Nadu. They have yet another solution. And I think that is the richness of, India, that, we, given a problem, we'll find a solution.
Absolutely. Thank you very, very much, Dr. Mittal, for joining in, and wish you a great tenure as a DOT
Thank you
secretary.
so much.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been a great audience. Thank you very much.